Hey guys, Wet Movie 1 back here again for another video for you guys today. In this video, I want to be talking about this topic that's always been on my mind, and I always kind of want to make a video about this, and that is physical copy versus digital copy. Stay tuned and we'll talk about the good and bad of each of them. Alright guys, let's talk about digital copy first, the good and the bad about digital copy, and then we'll move on to physical copy, the good and the bad about that. Alright, in digital copy, you guys can watch your stuff instantly, like Amazon Prime, Netflix and iTunes, like all the different places you can go and get your content and watch it instantly. You don't even have to leave your house and waste gas going to Best Buy and Fry's and all those other, big box retailers to find your movies or DVDs or Blu-rays or whatever you want to get. It's all at home. You don't have to leave your house or do anything to watch your content, your movies, your TV shows or whatever. And that's kind of a cool concept. But the bad, guys, in my opinion, is that not everything on Amazon or Netflix is always going to be there digitally. Because different shows and movies are licensed by these different companies, and these movies and TV shows won't necessarily be there for years at a time. Like right now, say you want to watch The Goonies or something, right? And it's on Netflix. I'm not sure if it is or not, but if it's on Netflix, and you watch it, you're like, oh man, I love The Goonies. You watch it, you have a good time with it, and you save it to your favorites or whatever you do, and you go back a couple years later, like 2 or 3 years later, because you want to watch that movie again. What happens? What are you going to do if it's not there and the physical format is gone? You know what I mean? Like, if you can't find it anywhere in those places like Amazon or Amazon Prime, Netflix, or any of those kind of places, what are you going to do? Because that's where they are. They're digitally. You know what I mean? They're still licensed by like Warner Brothers and all these different companies. What happens if they lose their licenses and those movies or TV shows you love are not on Netflix or Amazon anymore, Amazon Prime anymore? Like that's the bad about the whole digital format thing. That and the young people of this generation, the younger generation are not really leaving their houses anymore. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh shit, I can just watch what I want when I want, not even have to go and buy anything, have to leave the house or do anything. You know what I mean? I know people still leave their house and go places, but it's just another way to keep people in their house and not have to go anywhere to look for things. So it's that's kind of there's good points to it. You're gonna watch your stuff instantly, and you still pay your monthly fees and things. But I'm just saying, like, I don't want to like say I love this movie right here. I love Clerks 2. I don't want to like get rid of this Blu-ray or DVD. It's like a Blu-ray DVD combo pack or whatever. Get rid of that, and just because it's on Netflix, and then when I get rid of all my movies, and then I'm like, I'm going to go to Netflix and watch Clerks 2 now a couple years later, and it's not there. It's going to piss me off, because it's so easy just to go, oh, it's right here. I can just pop it in and watch it. You know what I'm saying? And plus, with digital copies and like stuff on Netflix, I don't think you really get all the special features that come with things like this, like bunches of commentaries, behind the scenes, and like all the stuff that like at least Kevin Smith puts on his discs. A bunch of stuff. You're not going to get all that kind of stuff in the digital format, at least as of now. But guys, let's move on to physical format now. The physical format. Let's talk about the bad about physical format. One, what happens if the big question is, what happens if your house burns down? That's the question I get asked a lot from people. Brendan, what are you gonna do if your house burns down? Number one, my first reply is, how often does that shit happen? And number two, if the physical format's still around, I can just go out there and buy it again. Unless it's like super out of print, but I'm sure you can still find it somewhere on Amazon or eBay. But you know what I mean? Just go out and buy it again. It's that simple. You know what I mean? One, come on, really? Like how often does the house burn down? I know it could happen and stuff like that. But that, and like someone can like steal it and you won't have it anymore. You still go out and buy it again, or it can get scratched and won't play or something. But let's talk about the good about physical format, the fun stuff. You guys all know I go out hoarding up and stuff, going to Best Buy and Fry's, and just going out there for the hunt. Going out there trying to find the stuff you want. Just getting up out of the house, not just going to the computer, going click, oh, there it is. I don't have to go to Best Buy today. Get up out of the house, get active, go outside, hang out, go have fun with your friends, looking for movies, doing the regular Tuesday thing. But you also got to keep in mind, I'm the guy that grew up in the VHS era. Like, I was born in 1982. VHS was already just, starting to get big during that time. So VHS and DVDs, and Blu-ray is all I've ever really known. Because when I grew up, my dad had a bunch of VHSs all over the place, and then when I got older, there was DVDs and VHSs all over the place, and now Blu-rays are going to be all over the place. That's just the era I grew up in. I know a lot of people around in my age group, or I think feel the same way. I'm not saying Netflix is totally bad. It's cool. You can watch your stuff instantly, like boom, boom, there it is. You can watch your stuff. But just to have a physical copy in your hand that you can bring anywhere you want and watch it right when you want. You know what I mean? Like, just in case those digital places don't have it anymore. And just the fun of having, going out there and having a physical copy in your hand. It makes you feel like like a man when you go out there on the hunt and you find, the movie that you're looking for. And it's cool to also, build a collection over years like that. I know you can still do that with digital copies, but it's still not really the same as it is with, physical copies, and just like the whole, the aspect of collecting things, That's what I like about it the most, is just collecting things. And plus, people say, Brennan, why do you need all these movies all throughout your house? And one, I like them, and two, it's like a comfort to me. You know what I mean? It makes me, it makes me feel like I'm in a video store back in like the early 90s when I used to go into those, video stores when I was a kid. And I always kind of try to recreate that in where I live, and I always feel the most comfortable in places like this, in little family-owned video stores, and my apartment here with movies everywhere, and just just remembering when I was a kid and seeing the old box art on old VHS tapes and and DVDs when they were coming out, going, oh my God, DVDs gonna be like the best thing ever, back in the day when it was like replacing DVD. But because back then when VHSs were coming out and DVD was starting to come out, I remember on the VHS tapes, on previews for things, it was saying, coming soon to VHS and DVD, and then when DVD took over, it was going, coming soon to DVD and Blu-ray, but now on these things it's coming, now on Blu-rays and stuff, it says, coming soon to DVD, Blu-ray, and digital download. I'm like, oh man, like that's where all this stuff is going now. Is going to be all digitally and stuff. And the other thing about digital copies I wanted to talk about, I almost forgot about, is people can say like, yeah, dude, you can take them and save them to your hard drive. Take the movies, digital copies, put them to your hard drive, and you're good. What happens if that hard drive crashes? Because I had multiple hard drives in my lifetime that seemed like all of them crashed sooner or later. Like, I have a hard drive over here that crashed recently that has all my short films and different random videos me and Gabriel did when I was younger, and they're not there now because the thing crashed, and I don't want to know how much it's going to cost to try to retrieve the files that are on there, But guys, I just wanted to come by and make this video talking about digital copy versus physical copy. Leave your thoughts down below and tell me what you think is the best, because I'm not saying one's better than the other. I'm just saying physical copies is my preference. But let me know what your preference is down below, what you like or dislike about physical copy, and dislike and like about digital copy down below. So guys, I'll see you guys next time. Make sure you guys thumbs up this video, and bye.